Oh Algeria, you beautiful country on the southern shore of the Mediterranean Sea. We all know that you are very passionate about your favorite sport, football. But does it have to turn deadly that often? Hello and welcome to Footour, your football world trip around the globe. I'm your host Björn, and today we take a look at the first African country of the series, Algeria. A football-mad country of 43 million, and the sport is deeply rooted in Algerian society. You can even say that football was the foundation of the state. Maybe a little exaggeration, but what would you say if your first president played for Olympique Marseille and when the country even had a national team before the state was officially founded? Some of the greatest footballers of all time are of Algerian heritage. Names like Zidane, Benzema or Nasri are known worldwide. But wait a minute, Björn. All names mentioned were greats of the French national team. Why do you refer to them as Algerian? Well, we will find out in the history part, because you can't describe the development of football in Algeria without mentioning the former colonial occupiers, France. Football on Algerian soil was first played in the late 1800s. Algeria was considered a French territory at that time, and settlers from France and other European nations brought the game to the country from the mainlands. It quickly gained popularity, and the first official clubs formed in the 1890s. Club Athlétique Liberté and Joyeux Cité were founded by European settlers. Those teams even were the first football clubs on the African continent. And football wasn't just popular with the settlers. The autochthonous population quickly followed up. But this led to problems. Tensions between the European settlers and the local Berber and Arabs were already high at that time. Europeans had a superior status, locals were seen as second-class citizens. Intermingling happened, but it was far away from being the norm. Even though the natives were allowed to join the clubs of the settlers, they preferred founding own clubs with Muslim origin. The first club founded by natives was JS Constantine back in 1898, a club that is still present in Algeria's top flight today. The French Football Federation established the North African Championship. Since the tournament included all teams from French Algeria and the protectorates of Tunisia and Morocco, it was organized in 5 different groups. 3 groups within French Algeria, Oran, Alger and Constantine, 1 group each for Tunisia and Morocco. The teams from French Algeria were by far the most successful clubs in the tournament. Sporting Club Bella Bess, a nowadays defunct team, was the most successful club with 7 championships. From the 1950s on, the situation in French Algeria became increasingly hostile. The Algerian independence movement, the National Liberation Front, or short FLN, searched for creative ways to promote its cause worldwide. The idea was to create a revolutionary national team. And who would have suited best for that cause than the Algerian players of the French teams? In a cloak and dagger operation, several players traveled to a secret meeting point in Tunisia via diverse routes. For the next 4 years, the FLN team toured worldwide to promote Algeria's independence. They played against national teams, clubs, city or district selections, mostly from socialist countries like China, Vietnam or the Soviet Union, or they played at their Arab neighbors. Algeria gained independence from France in 1962 and the FLN team transitioned to a regular national team. So let's take a closer look on the Algerian Football Federation and the national team. The national team is nicknamed the Fennecs, in English the Desert Foxes. They are considered to be one of the best African national selections and thus one of the best teams worldwide. Algeria is a FIFA member since 1963 and a member of the CAF, the Confederation of African Football, since 1964. Their highest victory in history was a 15-1 against South Yemen in 1973. Their highest defeat, a 2-9 against Hungary in 1967. To this point, Algeria qualified for 4 World Cups. The last time in 2014, when they reached the round of the last 16, where they lost to Germany, the World Cup champion, later on in extra time. They won the latest edition of the African Cup of Nations in 2019, the second victory of Africa's most prestigious competition. Some lesser-known tournaments the Algerian national team competes in are the Mediterranean Games and the Pan-Arab Games, 2 Olympics-like tournaments for certain countries. The national team gets equipped by Adidas, and the Algerian jersey is a regular sight on the streets of Algiers, Oran, Marseille or Paris. Football as the most popular sport in the country is well organized. The league pyramid goes down to the 8th tier. The first division is called Ligue 1, League 1, and is a full-out professional league, while the second division lost its professional status 2 years ago and is now considered to be semi-professional. The levels below are amateur status. While the first division is played out nationwide, the levels below are separated in regional groups to keep down the cost of traveling. Keep in mind, Algeria is Africa's biggest country. Other chances to put some silverware into the club's cabinet are the domestic cup competition, the Super Cup and the League Cup. most successful Algerian club to this point is JS Kabylie, and the club has a special identity since it represents the Algerian Berber population around the city of Tizi Ouzou. To this day, they have won 14 championships and 5 cups. And even on continental level, they are the most successful club of Algeria with 2 victories of the African Champions League and 3 victories of the CAF Cup, the African equivalent to the Europa League. Belouizdad, MC Alger and USM Alger are the biggest clubs from the capital. All 3 clubs have won the cup 8 times, MCA and Belouizdad have won the league 7 times and USM 8 times. Sétif have won the league and cup 8 times, and similar to JS Kabylie, they are 2 times winner of the African Champions League. The biggest club from Algeria's birthplace of football is MC Oran, with 4 championships and 4 cup wins. Nowadays, you won't really find clubs from the time before the revolution that were founded by the European settlers. Most of them were defunct after the revolution, since the majority of the settlers left for France. The most popular players of current time all play abroad. You have the English connection around Said Ben Rama from West Ham United, Nabil Bentaleb of Newcastle United, and for sure international superstar Riyad Mahrez of Man City. In Turkey, we have the Istanbul duo Sofyan Fahuli of Galatasaray and Besiktas Rashid Khesal. Borussia Mönchengladbach's left back Rami Benzebaini holds up the Algerian flag in Germany. And then we have to take a look on the French Ligue 1, where we can find Andy Delors of Montpellier or OGC Nice's Algerian duo Youssef Attal and Hicham Bouadouni. And for sure, don't forget Islam Slimani of Olympique Lyon. Bilal Messaoudi of JS Saoura was last season's top scorer in Algeria's first division and is a member of Algeria's U23. According to the Algerian League, players can earn up to €20,000 monthly in Algeria. And who are great players of the past? Rabah Madja, former African Player of the Year in 1987. Abdelhafid Tasfaoud is Algeria's all-time best scorer. Lakhdar Belloumi, a lot of Algerians consider him as the best player in history. He is the most capped player for the country selection and was voted 4th best African player in the last century. And just imagine if players of Algerian heritage who represent France nowadays decided to join the Fenex. Kylian Mbappé, Zinedine Zidane, Samir Nasri, Karim Benzema. Yes, you heard it right. Those players could have all played for Algeria. An urban myth even says that Algeria was Zinedine Zidane's first choice to play for. He was invited to a trial where the national coach judged him as too slow. 1st of November 1954 stadium in Tizi Ouzou, 8th of May 1945 stadium in Sétif, 20th of August 1955 stadiums in Algiers, Beja and Skikda. A lot of names of older stadiums in Algeria remember the struggle of the revolution. Most important venue is the 5th of July stadium in Algiers, with a capacity of 85,000. It was the home venue for the national team and MC Algiers, since MCA just recently made a move to the new Douaira Sports Park with a 40,000 capacity, and the national team will have a new home in the outskirts of Algiers in Baraki, where another 40,000 seater gets constructed. Another new stadium on construction is the Stade Oran in Algeria's second biggest city. It will host the next edition of the Mediterranean Games. JS Kabylie will soon have a new home too. Let's have a look at the fans and the fan culture in Algeria. News of heavy clashes between fan groups or fighting between fans and police are nothing special in Algeria. A real low point in the football history is the death of Cameroonian forward Albert Ebossé. Ebossé was hit by a projectile thrown from the Kabylie stands that left him with a traumatic brain injury. He got rushed into the hospital immediately, but sadly lost his life in the same evening. The ultra groups of various teams had a huge role in the protest that led to the step down of longtime leader Bouteflika in 2019. MC Alger's Vert de Lyon, the city rivals of USM, Ouled El Badja, or the Kabylie boys from Tizi Ouzou. Every major club in Algeria has its own ultra group. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the Algeria episode, and please leave me a little feedback in the comments. And watch out for the next episode when we visit one of the biggest underdogs of world football, American Samoa. I'm your host Björn, this is Footour. Have a nice day.